is the Fade 5 Podcast with Brad Evans and Nate Lundy.
Place your bets, you jackwagons! Brad the Big Noise Evans here, joined by the good star, Nathaniel Lundy. 'Tis indeed another Tequila Thursday, hashtag Tequila Thursday edition of the Fade 5 Podcast. It's opening night! We made it! All the meaningless football is long in the past, only meaningful snaps henceforth. And we got a colossal matchup going down at Arrowhead between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens. So let's not waste any damn time. Let's go ahead and hop aboard the Honk Plus Bus and TNF action. Lundy, how are we going to start off the season strong, maybe?
Well, first of all, you keep saying these are meaningful snaps. Has anybody told the people in Foxborough that?
Hey, I just need Drake made a start.
Okay. I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page.
Yeah.
Remember, our hatred has moved west and slightly south, NFL fans. It has gone from the hatred we all had for Foxborough to the hatred we all have at Arrowhead Stadium. Let's get started. That's where we shall be. I'm taking an alt line on Derrick Henry, Brad. I'm going to bump his yardage total up to 70 and play that over at DraftKings. Again, this is in the alt rushing yards market, and I'm going to take him for 70 or more. That gets me up to a plus 115 over there at DK. You can keep scaling this. You can play it like a ladder if you want to. Not the biggest sample size in the world, but Brad, in 4 games in his career against the Kansas City Chiefs, the football Frankenstein, as you like to call him, has averaged almost 112 yards per game against the Chiefs. Now, I understand that was on a different team, the one that used to be this one, but I just feel like he's going to wind up getting the rock, which I know you're going to talk about later on here in the Fade 5, and I think based on what he has done historically against the Chiefs, including his yards per carry, I think this 70 number is easily within reach. So I decided I did not want to play the standard line, and I would bump it up to the 70. I think he's good, frankly, for the upper 70s and may even eclipse 80 in this one because I do think they are going to use and abuse him and potentially when they get down to the goal line as well. So I know you're going to talk about Derrick Henry coming up a little bit later, but I liked this alt line. Grabbed this one yesterday at plus 115 at DraftKings.
Yeah, I excellently called there, and stay tuned. We're going to have more action on Derrick Henry in the Fade 5 countdown here momentarily, but my plus bus selection, ticket in hand with Mr. Taylor Swift. Yeah, he's going to shake it off in the end zone, and I think he's going to splash 6. Anytime touchdown, plus 110, available there at BetMGM. I know he's aging. He's very much on the wrong side of 30. We saw some deterioration of the skill set early on last year, but really turned it on strong over the second half of the season and into the postseason. And one of those postseason matchups was against, what a quinky dink, the Baltimore Ravens, the AFC title game. And he scored a touchdown in that one, went over 100 yards. It was just a pass-catching machine. You look at the advanced analytics of Travis Kelce, he's still top 10 virtually everywhere at the tight end position. And we know he's always lined up in the crosshairs, coming off the howitzer arm of Patrick Mahomes when inside the red zone. Still a very slick and savvy route runner. A guy has gets enough separation, some of those quick outs, those shallow crosses. And, of course, Mahomes can high point the ball. He'll climb up and get it and haul it in. So we'll see if the missus is going to be in the house in the game tonight. But the mister on the field, Travis Kelce, I think he twirls the ends of the handlebar mustache there, Lundy. I say anytime touchdown, plus 110 there at BetMGM. With those bets on the board, let's get after it on this hashtag Tequila Thursday with another edition of the Fade 5.
Number 5.
All right, numero 5 on the countdown. Let's go to the other tight end. And it's not Mark Andrews on the field. It's Isaiah Likely. It might be kind of a surprise here, but this number is very low, and I think he can do it with just one catch. Give me the over, baby. 17.5 receiving yards for the Baltimore Raven at a minus 105 juice. I pulled this one from DraftKings Sportsbook. You look at Likely. when he ran at least 15 routes last season. And of course, a lot of that was him forced employment due to the absence of Mark Andrews, but he was on the field a ton for a large chunk of the season. Even when he was playing a secondary role, occasionally he ran 15 routes in a game. And when that did happen, he went over this prop in 7 of the 9 contests a year ago. He was numero uno in passer rating when targeted among all tight ends, 147 flat from Lamar Jackson. He was also top 10 in yards per target at 10.9, top 10 in yards per reception at 13.7. All the reports out of Ravens training camp throughout the entire month of August is that he was going to be a chess piece. He's going to be utilized in the slot. He's going to line up outside. You may even see him in motion coming out of the backfield to maximize the matchups. Big body guy, 6'4", 247 pounds, and he just gets separation. We've seen it repeatedly in his young career. Hopefully on a streak down the field, he gets that separation. Lamar Jackson throws a frozen rope. He hauls it in, and we cash it, baby, on just one catch. I think that's all we need on the over. 17.5 receiving yards for Isaiah Likely, minus 105 at DraftKings. Good, sir. Fade or follow?
I think you can get to the 18. I think this is pretty doable. Now, of course, you're freaking out Mark Andrews owners in fantasy football right now, Brad, by bringing up Likely's name, because anybody that drafted Andrews already knows that they're looking over their shoulder, being a little bit concerned about the potential of Likely to take away some of those catches and maybe even steal a couple of touchdowns over the course of the season. But I just think this number is set too low. Give me this one easy at minus 105. Not as strong a juice as normal. I think you might be sweating this one a little bit come the third quarter or so. I could see him getting a catch, maybe 2 in the first half, and perhaps sitting right underneath this number, and you're going to have your fingers crossed for one more reception.
Pulling up at all the wrong places? Yeah, it's likely.
Number 4.
All right, numero cuatro here on the feed at 5 countdown. Let's go to the Kansas City side of the pill, shall we? And we're going to feature a bet on the Punisher, I affectionately call him, Isiah Pacheco. Give me the over. 2.5 receptions at a minus 110 juice at BetMGM. And that's noteworthy because the juices come tumbling down the mountainside. It was as high as minus 140, 145. I saw the books earlier this week. And then Samaje Perine arrived. And then Andy Reid talked up Samaje Perine, called him a legitimate 3-down running back, talked up his pass catching skills, his ability to pass protect, and a guy that he has got supreme confidence in because he's a highly intelligent football playing running back. And that is definitely the case. I only think he's going to see maybe 10 to 12 snaps in this game is Perine. He's still got to get immersed in this offense. He's only been in the building for a handful of days. So I still believe this is going to be a heavy Isiah Pacheco game, even on pass down and third down situations. So give me that over 2.5 catches. Again, I think it's a bargain that the standard minus 110 juice. You look at Pacheco, he did this repeatedly last year, and a guy who also caught 4 balls in that AFC title game against the Baltimore Ravens. He averaged 13.7 routes per game a season ago in the regular season. 9.9% of the team's target share ran routes on 36.7% of his snaps. That's rather healthy. At the second highest catch rate of any RB in the league. Kind of helps when you have a guy named Mahomes, Patrick, chucking into the rock. He caught 89.8% of his targets, including the Super Bowl and the playoff run. He went over 2.5 catches in 11 of 22 games. And here's what's most important. I know Orr is the new DC there in Charm City, but they have struggled mightily in short field coverage here last couple of seasons, Lundy, as the Ravens have ranked inside the top 10 in most catches allowed to the running back position in back-to-back seasons. So caught 44 balls in 14 games last year. I think Pacheco does it again out of the gate, even with Samaje Perine getting the occasional stat. I ain't scared, fools. Give me the over. 2.5 catches with Pacheco, minus 110 at BetMGM. Good, sir. Fade or follow?
I'm going to play with you on this one with the catches because I think he's actually going to crush this number. I think he may actually finish with like 5. I know that what Andy Reid said about Samaje Perine I get it. And he was here in training camp in Denver. I think this is all about Pacheco. I think you are actually being too generous in the number of snaps that Samaje Perine is going to see by saying that you think it's going to be 10 to 12. I think it's going to be a lot less than that. I think we're going to see a lot of Pacheco. I keep referencing the fantasy side of things because I know so many of you have done your drafts in the last 11 days or so. I think if you invested in Pacheco come the end of the season, you're going to be happy that you did. I think Perine's there, and I'm not saying there aren't going to be games where he is going to see a dozen snaps or so, but I'm not convinced that it's going to be tonight that happens. And so because of that, I really like this prop on Pacheco. You can always alt this, folks, in some of the markets. If you're trying to same game parlay, bring him down to like 2 so that you don't have to worry about getting hooked. But I do believe that this is a solid play.
Isiah Pacheco, good sir, please flash those mitts.
Number 3.
Numero 3 is here on the Fade 5 Countdown. Let's stay in Cowtown with the members there for the Chiefs. And I'm going to go with the rookie and might be a sensational start for him. Xavier Worthy, the former Texas Longhorn. Give me the over. 20.5 yards on his longest catch. The juice has crept up a little bit. I grabbed it when this opened at minus 110. It's now minus 120 at BetMGM, but I think it's entirely doable. Dare I say, a somewhat sledgehammer worthy, my friends, as I believe the rookie is going to get the separation. Why? Speed is the name of thy game when it comes to Xavier Worthy's skill set. He ran a 4.21 40-yard dash. We saw it in the preseason, not off the hand of Patrick Mahomes, but from Carson Wentz, as a matter of fact. A guy that was able to get that separation and get it rather easily. And granted, that was against backups, and I was going to see a pretty stiff and strong secondary of Baltimore. But I believe he will get that breathing space needed to convert on a long catch. And I think it'll probably be for 25 or more yards. All I need is 21 to catch. The cash in on that. 5'11", 165 pounds. Elite explosiveness and verticality. That's what the scouting report says. He had an 87 grade according to Pro Football Focus on his overall single coverage skills. 118.8 QB rating when targeted on speed out routes. And, that could be something where he goes, 17 yards down the field. That's a quick out. He catches it, maybe shakes off the defender, gains another 5 yards, and he cash in that way. Last year, Patrick Mahomes, unbelievably, Lundy, was number 33 generational quarterback in deep ball completion percentage. And he's going to see a lot of Stevens in coverage. Brandon Stevens of the Baltimore Ravens only gave up 10.7 yards per catch and a 79.4 passer rating last year. But I believe Xavier Worthy beats his man off the blocks, catches a long pass, and catches the over, baby. 20.5 yards on that longest reception, minus 120 at BetMGM. Fade or follow.
I don't like following you on everything. I'm going to fade you on this one. By the way, the juice is there, which is surprising. This opened at 19.5. Okay, so it's already moved by a yard, which I know people are like, oh, Lundy, it's just a yard.
Some books are even higher at 21.5.
Yeah, exactly. We're seeing, by the way, a similar thing. If you, by the way, quick sidebar conversation here. If you are thinking about Derrick Henry catching the ball out of the backfield, which we know he is capable of doing, please make sure that you shop around because it's the same kind of thing. I've seen a book. I've seen a book at 6.5. I've seen a book at 8.5. And that's you're talking about a difference of 30% right there. That's a big number, folks. So if you are thinking about Derrick Henry getting a catch or two out of the backfield, make sure that you shop around on that. Going back to this one, though, I think he's going to have that deep threat. I think he's got that opportunity, but I'm going to play the under on this one. I'm looking for him to finish somewhere in the teens. Even if this were still at 19.5, I think that I would fade you on this one. He's got great talent, and we know how creative Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes can be. But I also don't think against this Baltimore defense that necessarily that Andy Reid is going to try to push the envelope a little too much here in this home opener. Give me the under on this one. I say his longest catch winds up being right around 18, 19 yards.
X hopefully is going to mark the spot, and where it definitely marks the spot is at my site, thegamingjuice.com. Go there right now. It's absolute free to sign up. Hopefully, we're going to have a premium arm coming soon to the website. But I'm only answering your pertinent fantasy football and sports betting questions on that platform this season. I'm not even answering anything on X or anywhere else. It's how I'm interacting with our audience. We're trying to build a community. Lundy's got his spreadsheet picks there. Ben Wittenstein and Nate Jacobson are cranking out all kinds of content in college basketball. Excuse me, not basketball, but football. Basketball is my forte. And they were slamming home some winners last week in week 1 of the college football season. They're going to have more content available in week 2. I got my Thursday night football picks on there. Going to have my Friday night football picks down in Brazil for you tomorrow, along with my top props. All my fantasy flames by position: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end. It's all free at thegamingjuice.com. Click, cash, and converse. Well, I messed that up. Click, converse, and cash. ... I don't even know the tagline. Maybe.
Number 2.
I screwed that up massively. Hopefully,
the
this
first day of the season, you can't even get your tagline right.
I know, and I came up with it, and I'm like, wait a minute. I flipped it. There's a little bit of backwardsness there involved, but whatever. We nailed it at the end. I hopefully going to nail this one. It's a long shot, like me saying multisyllabic words, but I believe Rashee Rice is going to lead this game in receiving yards, and it is a cool plus 290, and get seduced by that juice that worked those shoulders as a result. My friends at Betalytics, shout out to Rob Poling, shout out to Rachel Dory. We're partnered with them at thegamingjuice.com, and they do all kinds of predictive analysis. I looked at all the various player props and the predictions they had tied to every single player in the game. The highest reception yardage number for anybody in this contest that got Rashee Rice projected for just over 60 yards in this affair. I think it could be much higher than that. I love him quite a bit. And at plus 290, yeah, he's the pack leader in this category. But Lundy, I think he certainly can set the pace in this game in total yardage. A guy that can play out the slide, can line up outside, gets that separation from his defender routinely. And Patrick Mahomes, especially on those seam routes last year, that's where Rashee Rice really cooked. He could, shake, he could bake his would-be defender and tackler and scoot down the field for a long gain and really have a long, sizable lead in the receiving yards category in the end. So I know a lot of people are on Zay Flowers tonight, but I like Rice to cook, baby. Give me him for receiving yards leader in Thursday Night Football, plus 290 at BetMGM. Fade or follow.
I think this is a great one to roll with. I frankly, I know everybody's talking about Zay Flowers, which I kind of understand. But I actually think this is going to come down to either him or Travis Kelce, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be Rice or Kelce. I think it's going to be one of those two. I think it's going to be, look, if I'm not mistaken, like the head-to-head passing yard prop, folks, between Mahomes and Lamar, okay? I think is Patrick Mahomes minus 39 or something like that in the head-to-head. Okay, so if I'm looking for who's going to have the most receiving yards, yes, I understand I get the Zay Flowers side of things, but I'm going to look for a receiver that's on the guy that's expected to have the more passing yards, for crying out loud. So, yeah, I think this is actually a pretty smart play, and I think it's really easy to get seduced when you're playing 2.9 on the return. So plus 290, really solid.
Yeah, Rice, baby. Get it done, baby. Let's cash in at plus 290.
Number 1.
Numero uno here on the Fade at 5 countdown. Already teased at the top of the show. Lundy likes the old yardage market on the ground for the football Frankenstein C-hole. Smash hole. I'm going to take the over on rush attempts. My top play of the night in the opener in the National Football League. The number is listed at 15.5, and I can't believe it's this low. A little bit heavier juice there, minus 125 at BetMGM, but slap that wallet and pay it. I think he's going to have anywhere between 18 to 22 rush attempts in this game. I don't think the Ravens are going to get blown out at all. I think this is going to be a lower scoring affair than people believe. I am betting the under on the 46.5. So as a result, if it is going to be a nip and tuck affair, Derrick Henry is going to be the centerpiece of the offensive game plan, chewing up real estate on the ground, chewing up clock as well, and keeping the Ravens within striking distance. I think he is again, the focal point of the game plan for John Harbaugh and friends. You look at Derrick Henry, a guy who just does this consistently. Last season, obviously went over this number a multitude of times, and he did so in Tennessee. And he only saw like 60% of the opportunity share that year, was 64.6% to be exact. Yeah, he was only number 41 in yards created per touch, but he is still a guy that gets appreciable yards after contact. He was number 12 in yak per attempt at 3.32, number 4 in total missed tackles force at 57. The Ravens, they might have a little bit of a dicey, sketchy kind of mid offensive line this year. And yes, Kansas City, according to ESPN's Mike Clay, has the 5th best interior line on paper in a regular season and a top 12 linebacker core as well. But Henry, he's going to get fed early and often. At a minimum, I feel it's 18 rush attempts, and all we need is 16 to cash. So my number one play in the opener, the football Frankenstein, Derrick Henry, over 15.5 rush attempts, minus 125 at BetMGM. Good, sir. Fade or follow.
This correlates back to the plus bus, folks. I told you we were going to talk about it again, and I told you to take the alt line on the yardage total, take it up to 70 so that you get it at plus odds. Again, we're talking almost 112 yards per game he's averaged in his career in 4 contests against the Chiefs, which is a hefty yards per carry number. Just do the math. That's all you got to do. If he gets the 16 carries, we multiply it by an average of, say, 4.5. We're creeping right into the number that we need to have. So, yes, this goes back to my plus bus. I love this play. I think that of your fade 5, this is my favorite. So take it because it correlates really well back to that yardage total I was talking about.
Yeah, I can't believe the juice is only minus 125. Should be at like around minus 175, maybe close to minus 200. So might want to grab that now if you're listening to the podcast early, because the juice is sure to rise by kickoff. All right, Lundy, it's bonus time. Bonus time. What else you got? Maybe Thursday night football action. Maybe something in the W, dare I say, or Major League Baseball. What do you got for me?
I'm not betting on the W, you freak.
I had to retire, and I was loving betting on the W, and then the Olympics happened.
I enjoy watching. I'm not going to bet on it. Like I'm enjoying watching the games. I'm enjoying what Caitlin Clark and the Fever are doing. Don't get me wrong. I'm enjoying all of it. I'm just not going to bet on it. That's all. I mean, I enjoy watching soccer. I don't bet on it. It's just I don't know it well enough. Okay, I don't know the intricacies to it. And if we repeat ourselves between today and tomorrow, the things that have happened over the course of the last couple of seasons, chances are my NFL Week 1 picks are going to blow. It's one of the things that happens to me. Week 1 of a season, I get my ass handed to me and then we bring it back up continuously throughout the rest of the year. So I want you to take everything, including this guy right here, okay? Him and I take everything in Week 1 with a grain of salt, because historically, I'm lucky if I finish above 500 in Week 1, and then things pick up as we get going with the season, as we start to mess around with the numbers and we start to look better at the projections. Let me give you a couple more that I like for this evening. Let me start off with Justin Watson. That boy, good. Give me Justin Watson. I'm going to take the over at 13.5 on the receiving yards. This is another number that you can shop around a little bit. I'm paying some juice at BetMGM at a minus 120, but the reason I'm doing it is because BetMGM has it at 13.5 when everybody else is either at 14.5 or 15.5. So I'm willing to pay the juice to give myself a couple of yards just in case. This has to do with just the overall setup and what I believe in terms of receivers and how I think this is going to play out. So give me the 14 yards. Similar to what you were talking about with likely at 17.5. I just think this is one of those numbers that's set too low. So I'm going to take Justin Watson on the over for the 13.5 receiving yards on this evening. Then let me give you an SGP. I told you I had a little alternative way to be able to do Isiah Pacheco this evening. Folks, this is a 4-leg SGP, and this is all receptions. Ready to rock with me?
Yeah.
Isiah Pacheco for 2 or more. Xavier Worthy for 2 or more. Zay Flowers for 3 or more, and Rashee Rice for 4 or more. Coming back at you real quick. Pacheco 2, Worthy 2, Flowers 3, Rice 4. Those are all receptions in the game tonight, SGP style, over at FanDuel, plus 125.
Ooh.
look a gift in the mouth to be able to get us started on a Thursday night football contest there at Arrowhead. All right, Brad has closed up shop in the MLB, but I have not. You know why? Because I knew Schwarbs was going to stay hot yesterday, and yes, I'm looking for a home run at plus 300. First pitch of the game, ball. Second pitch of the game, wall. That's where he sent it. Folks, after the first at bat yesterday afternoon, that meant he had gone 6 for 7 with 4 home runs and a double. That is what he had done in 7 consecutive at-bats.
Wow.
Unbelievable what he is doing right now. So screw it. I'm taking him again at plus 255 to hit a round tripper. Dude is hot as it gets. Let me give you a handful of options, by the way, on Schwarbs. Plus 255 on him to go yard again. In the last 2 games, folks, he's 7 for 9 with 4 home runs, 2 singles, and a double, okay? If you don't like that, if you think the streak comes to an end, total bases, I need 2 of them. Plus 110 or an RBI at plus 135. Schwarbs is hot. Ride the hot hand. It's got to do with that. Oh, just showing off, He's got the Uzi open. All the ladies are like, yeah, Schwarbs, how you doing? All right, so I like him quite a bit. I got not 1, but 2 home run plays for you today. If you've got a boost, you got a free bet you want to throw out there, let me give you a couple. First and foremost, go with Mike Yastrzemski of the San Francisco Giants. It's just a really favorable matchup for him. If you go to the hyphen, as Brad and I like to promote, batters-box.com, and you look at the numbers, he's got a favorable matchup there. He's also got a really good history in this one against Merrill Kelly. He has a 216, not a great number, 216 lifetime average, but it's 37 at bats. And so we've seen it. He's got 3 home runs and 3 doubles. So I'm going to take him to go yard. If you want to go total bags, feel free to do that one as well. It's plus 105 over at FanDuel. The other reason I like him is at FanDuel, Yaz for a home run is plus 560. At Caesars, it's plus 450. We're getting a full $110 higher at FanDuel on that one for him to go yard. So I like Yaz. I told you I like Schwarber. And one more home run play for you, Jorge Soler of the Atlanta Braves. He is taking on the guy. You know what, Brad, you know what? Happy Austin Gomber Day.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Austin Gomber on the road, taking on the Braves. Take the Braves on the run line. Take Soler to go yard against Gomber. I talked about the hyphen, batters hyphen box. He has a 600 matchup rating and a 57.3 fastball rating.
Wow.
Those are big effing numbers, folks, at the hyphen. You don't normally see a 600 and then a fastball number above 50%, and they're both above those notches. So I will take Soler to go yard as the Rockies just continue to cash checks for us on the betting slip. I know my bonus time went a little long, so I yield the floor to the fine gentleman from Illinois.
All right, Team Huevos, parlay play of the daytime, SGP, Thursday Night Football, Ravens and Chiefs on this hashtag Tequila Thursday. Let's get drunk with a little juice, shall we? Kansas City and Baltimore, Lake Numero Uno, the all total. Give me the under 56.5. Give me Travis Kelce, 4 more receptions. Give me Isiah Pacheco. All I need is 1 catch. And then a leg numero cuatro, Isaiah Likely. Again, I love me on the over 17.5, but we're going to build in a little cushion to avoid any kind of pushing or nonsense. I just need a 10-yard reception, 10 or more receiving yards. So again, under 56.5 in the game. Kelce, 4 more catches. Pacheco, 1 catch, Likely 10 or more yards, plus $1.55 at BetMGM. Really, you don't need any reasons on Pacheco and Likely. I've already explained that earlier on the pod. Kelce did this in all of 2 games last year, all but 2 games. he caught at least 4 balls, and I think it's going to be more of the same. He's probably going to get anywhere between, I would say, 7 targets at a minimum, maybe as high as 11 or 12 in this opener with all the pomp and circumstance and the celebration still ongoing with the Kansas City Chiefs, of course, winning the Super Bowl last year. So he is going to be a busy man. He may hit this by, midway through the third quarter or by halftime. And then the under on 56.5, I believe these two defenses, they retain a lot of guys and made some key upgrades in other areas. They were both top 10 in EPA per play defense a season ago. I think it's going to be more of the same. A lot of people are expecting fireworks, some sort of shootout. I'll take the over, way over 46.5. It may go over that number, but, jacking up the juice, go with kind of the related approach. Also jacks up the juice on the overall parlay. So you're taking up to 56.5, slam that under. You put the other 3 legs together, which are offensive positive, and you get to plus 155 at BetMGM. My Team Huevos parlay play of the day. Elsewhere, bonus time. Just a couple of additional plays. If you want to go more the traditional side and total route, I use the 50% profit boost available at DraftKings on this, Lundy. So little 2-legger, and you got to keep the juice below minus 200 for each leg to qualify. So I took that total up to 51.5, the highest I can go without exceeding that minus 200 threshold. And I took the Ravens up to plus 6. You put those two together. Again, the under of the game total 51.5. The Ravens at plus 6. You throw in the bonus. It's plus 177 full at DraftKings. Ooh. And to back that up with Bet Analytics and their fearless forecasting on their projections, Bet Analytics has this game at 44.43 specifically on the total, and the Ravens at plus 2.78. So nice little cushion there with a plus 6 on Baltimore, and a nice little cushion on the game total at 51.5 from that projection. So digging that one quite a bit. And my last play, Carson Steele.
Oh,
anytime touchdown. It's 7-1. Shout out to my co-host Ryan Horvat. Mentioned this last night on BetMGM tonight. I kind of agree with him. There have been hints. There have been a lot of breadcrumbs dropped that he is going to see some short yardage and maybe some goal line work for Kansas City this season. Yeah. A lot of people are on Pacheco, and for good reason. I think Pacheco could have a banner top 10 fantasy campaign, but Carson Steele could be that thorn in the side on occasion. 7-1 to splash 6. I will sprinkle a little action on that. It's just too enticing to pass up.
The other thing that I'll throw out there when you talk about somebody like Steele for a touchdown is, and I'm sorry that I'm drawing a blank, you guys will know based on, especially if you shop around with the books and things like that. I want to say it's DK, but I could be wrong on this one. One of the books is giving you a no sweat anytime touchdown bonus where you can, so you want to bet $50 or whatever on somebody to have a touchdown. If it loses, you get your $50 back as a bonus bet.
Oh, lovely.
And I like I said, I think it's DK because I think they handed out like one for Thursday, one for Friday night, and then one you can use
they have 4
Sunday.
tokens. Yeah, for every night of action.
For every night of action. And so Steele is a really good opportunity to use that. I know it's, it's always good when you know it's going to be a no sweat, but if you're going to have a no sweat, I look at it the same way I look at a free bet, folks. It's one of the, why am I going to put that on something with minus 140 odds? Why not put it on something big? Because if it splashes, it's a great payday. And if it doesn't, you get it back and you can reuse it another time.
All right, I'm out of breath, and we are out of time here on the Fade 5 podcast. Do us a favor as you exit, drop us a rating and a review at your convenience. Also, fade or follow us on the X. Always try to give it to you there at Nate Lundy. That's Nate's handle. At Noisy Huevos is mine. Check out thegamingjuice.com, and I'm going to get this right. Click, converse, and cash. ... Maybe. Yeah, I nailed it. As always, fade or follow. That is up to you.